Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy, and I have two guests today. Potentially a third might be joining us. We'll see. But so this is Jacaranda Hemp Apparel. So I'm talking to Billy Simon and Harrison Jennings, two of the co-founders, who I found out they've been friends since they were kids, which is so cool. And so we're talking about hemp apparel because these guys are like they're doing hemp apparel, and I think it's super cool. So, Billy Harrison, thank you so much for being here today. I'm really excited to learn more about Jacaranda and all the things that you guys are doing with that.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us on the show.
Yay! And so you said you've been friends since, well, you were Eagle Scouts together, you said, or Boy Scouts together. You've known each other since Boy Scouts.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I think
Uh,
we would have been like 10 or 11 when we first crossed paths. So,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So you're just doing life together, which is awesome. And one of their other co-founders or teammates, they've been friends since they were two, Billy and Milo, you said, right? Or
Bill,
Henry.
me and Henry have been friends since two, and then Milo was part of the Boy Scout troop.
Got it. Okay. So they've been friends since they were kids. Either way, all four of them, uh, which is just, you don't hear about that very often, which I just think is awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Now, can you start with, let's see. So just so you guys know, listening, I already asked I grew up under a rock questions, so we're just going to talk about what's really interesting. So I would love to know, why hemp and also like why apparel? Like what are, how did you guys come up with this?
Yeah, so I went to school for entrepreneurship. That was the name of my major.
Awesome.
Um, and a lot of the assignments in those earlier entrepreneurship classes was listening to podcasts and kind of reading about founders and how they started their businesses. Um, so naturally, I thought, oh, this would be fun. This would be a fun task to do. And a lot of them started it with their friends. And at the time, I was living with Henry, and I was like, hey, man, we should start a business. I think that would be a fun thing for us to do. Um, so we were kind of brainstorming for a while, trying to figure out what a fun business might be. And then Milo, the one of the Eagle Scout friends, he started to send us these doodles and these drawings that he was doing. So we at first thought, oh, like this will be easy. We'll just put Milo's doodles on things that people want and sell them. So initially we thought, okay, like we'll just put that onto like some cheap t-shirts. We'll put them on Etsy and that'll be that. We'll have a little business.
On
And there was
cheap
one day I was
t-shirt.
wearing, yeah, that's how we got into t-shirts. But then I was wearing one of the shirts and it said, please give thanks to the earth. And I was in an Uber and the Uber driver read it and then went, oh, I bet that's on cotton in a dismissive way. And I kind of asked, like, what are you talking about? And he went on a little rant about how bad cotton is for the environment and the fast fashion industry in general. And when I said, what's the alternative? He suggested hemp. And at the time, um, we were all stoners, for the lack of a better term. So initially we went like, oh my God, like hemp, that's so cool. Like that's related to weed. Like this is perfect. Um, but the more and more we researched it, the more and more we realized like this actually aligns with our values because we spent a lot of time hiking. Like in Boy Scouts, we did a lot of trail restoration, and then like we're surfers and whatnot. So I think nature and nature appreciation is kind of in our values. So it started to snowball a little bit. We thought, oh, okay, we'll just buy hemp blanks and we'll put the designs on there. And then we realized you can't buy hemp blanks because no one provides them. So we were like, oh, okay, we're gonna have to buy hemp fabric and then have that turn into blanks. And soon enough, that kind of snowballed into like we can do anything out of hemp. Like they can be tote bags, crop tops, t-shirts, pants. That's kind of where the business was born.
Okay. What are hemp blanks?
So a blank is basically a garment that doesn't have any designs on it.
Oh, okay.
It's just like a plain shirt or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And so, I mean, so cotton is less bad than other things, but but we're saying here that hemp is a little bit easier on the earth,
Yeah,
or quite a bit easier on the earth than that it's, less cons it consumes less water and takes less space, you said?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, hemp, a lot of the hemp that's grown, at least the stuff that we use, a lot of it is supported by the natural rainfall. So, in terms of watering and water
Which is not a
consumption,
lot, right?
no, it's not a lot at all. But in terms of water and water consumption, it's way better. I mean, the fashion industry just has such a huge environmental footprint, and there's nothing wrong with cotton. There's just, 8 billion people on the planet. So hemp feels like a practical modern solution, not
Right.
like a futuristic concept. Um, so, I think it's that modern solution that we should be applying.
Right. Okay. And so I think, Billy, when we talked before, you had said that hemp needs to grow close together, right?
Hmm.
And so it's grown different than cannabis.
Yeah. So just like a quick little recap. So like marijuana or cannabis is kind of what people get high off of. It has they smoke the flowers of the plant. And in order to fall into that category, it has to be over a certain amount of THC, which is tetrahydrocannabinol, which is basically what gets you high. Um, but hemp that's grown industrially, like what we're using, we're not concerned with the leaves or the flowers, but it's the stalks that are being turned into fibers, which are then woven into like to different fabrics. And in order to get a thicker stalk, they're grown closer together, so they don't have to kind of bush out as much. They're not the energy of the plant isn't going to bigger leaves or bigger flowers trying to get sun. They're just trying to grow up basically. So you're able to pack in a lot more hemp plants in a whatever you want to call it, in a specific space compared to cannabis plants.
Gotcha.
And
That's really
they
great.
grow faster. And, they grow way faster, and you can harvest it in a much shorter amount of time. So even if it's using less land, like it's quicker, more efficient. It's good
Faster
in a
than,
variety of ways.
yeah,
Faster than
Harrison.
cotton.
Okay. Um, Not cannabis though. I mean, oh, cannabis takes a long time,
No,
doesn't it?
Well, there's
I'm not actually
they
quite sure.
I think they grow about the same rate, but there's just a lot more prep that goes into have like cannabis, I would say. Like there's like a whole trimming process and drying process and not whatnot. Whereas the hemp being grown, it's basically like a hands-off sort of experience. It's grown and then it's harvested and then goes into manufacturing.
Gotcha. Um, all right. So I want to talk about the business now. So how long have you guys been in business?
Technically since 2022.
All right.
Yeah, that's kind of where the ball started to roll. And that's kind of when we started to do sales, so to speak. But it seems like every day it snowballs a little bit more. So, but yeah, the idea was started in 2022.
Okay. Do you guys have new ideas like every day? Like, oh my gosh, we should do this.
Basically, yeah. I think we have
Wow.
more ideas than we can handle, which is kind of fun. We've recently launched this we started to recruit these educational interns and that's been kind of fun because we're getting more people to help us with the research and the education side of things.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a really important point because, like me, we're just like, what, why?
Yeah.
But to
Yeah.
educate people and let them know, no, this is actually a really good thing. And I I learned about hemp clothing from I did a podcast episode way back with Kathy Rust of Cool Your Sweats, and she makes nightgowns for women in menopause because the night sweats are no joke. And but so she was telling me that there are not a lot, that there are a lot of people growing hemp in the US or in North America because she's in Canada, but there are not a lot of places that will like process it. And so this was like maybe 2022, early 2023. And so, her understanding and my understanding, because mine was hers, was that there are not a lot of places that will work with it, or there are like so many regulations that it's really hard to find someone to work with. So you have to like send it away.
Yeah.
Um, but
And
I
it's
wonder if things have
unfortunate.
changed.
It's still like the whole debate of whether or not to use industrial hemp, I think, has been politicized a little bit, which is unfortunate because at the end of the day, it's just, at least in our eyes, it's just beneficial for everyone involved. But yeah, I think we see a future where it becomes more accepted,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
think we're helping to pave the path for that.
right. Well, in your education interns will, they've got a job to do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Yeah. And a lot of our good ideas are coming from these interns. A lot of our good ideas come from our clients, at least our product ideas. We wouldn't have made that wine bag if it wasn't for that wine restaurant. And, our interns are helping us with our packaging, making sure that it's sustainable from start to finish.
Awesome.
So it's a great
Ah,
experience.
kids are awesome. Um, well, yeah, and so I do want to actually bring up that fact about the wine bag. So these guys are really scrappy, and I think that's so impressive because, they say it's hemp apparel, but somebody had said, or you were talking to a restaurant who was like, well, do you guys do any totes for like wine bottles or anything? And so they figured it out. Harrison learned to sew. He learned to sew so that he could, test it out um, and see if it was possible and what it would look like. And, it takes a few tries, right? Um, but you did that. And I think that says a lot about your I'm going to use a dumb word, but like stick to itiveness.
I like that.
I
But
like
like,
that. I'm
you're
coining that
not like,
phrase.
nope, that's not what we do. You're like, let's figure it out. And I just think that's part of being young. I think that's part of being really creative. And I think that's part of, you guys have known each other forever and you're like, we can do that. Why can't we do that? And you're Eagle Scouts. So
I think that kind of contributes to our mindset a little bit, which is just kind of like, I don't know, because the wine tote idea kind of came up a little bit in passing in conversation. Like we were kind of selling, oh yeah, we do t-shirts, we do crop tops, and then they had mentioned the whole, oh, we're trying to look for this, whatever. And I think initially we were like, yeah, we can do that, and then we get to kind of figure out. It's like the whole challenge of it. I think is the fun part where it's like, well, crap, like now we have to figure this out. But I don't know. I think I think
yeah,
that's kind of the whole business has been kind of started on like us setting a goal or coming up with a challenge and then being able to tackle it and then we just keep going. So
yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
entrepreneurship where you're like, say yes, figure it out later.
a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah, we're building the plane on the way down after jumping off the cliff a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean, so Harrison learned how to sew. He also learned how to screen print. So like I think that it's just that you're not willing to give up and you're not like, nope, we don't do that. Like we'll figure that out. We'll figure out a way. And if we can't, then we can't. But we'd never know if we don't try, right?
Yeah.
Um, so you had said something, Billy, that I thought was really, really good. And I think that it's just I don't know, is this like your business tagline that you said look good, feel good, do good? Is that your tagline or is it
We have a ton of
you
little
got a few.
quips that we can pull out. So I think that's one of them.
Depends
Or
on
like
the moment.
yeah, we've often said like a good business is a business for good. So I think we have a lot of little, one-liners that we like to. But
I
yeah,
love
I think
that.
ultimately there's a thing that we learned about in school called the triple bottom line, which is basically like people, planet, profit. And I think what we've been doing is sufficient in all three of those. It's beneficial to all of those. So
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so what else do you have? You've got look good, feel good, do good, and what was What was the other one? So do good for the planet,
A,
do good. How did that go?
a, g- we have the a good business is a business for good.
That.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Harry,
Um,
Put you on the spot.
well, in terms of just running a small business, there was a lot of deliberation about who was going to do what, but kind of everyone has to do everything. So one saying that I've kind of kept to myself is everybody's boots are on the ground, and every head wears a lot of hats. I had to learn how to screen print. I had to learn how to sew. And I joined the team to do the marketing. I didn't think I was going to be chugging away on a sewing machine for hours into the night, but here I am burning the midnight oil, putting this wine bag Frankenstein together. And it eventually became something really cool. So,
Wine bag Frankenstein.
sorry, I just watched the new Frankenstein movie, so that was on my mind.
Oh man, that's awesome. I think what you guys are doing is really cool. So how's business?
it's going well. I think initially we were at this, and, like initially we were just kind of selling our own designs, and we were kind of doing like flea markets and farmers markets, like we were selling at my school. And
Yeah.
then there's a there's a company called Patagonia,
Yeah.
and the founder is named Yvon Chouinard, and he speaks about how a sustainable business doesn't just mean that they're kind of offering sustainable products. It's a business that'll last. Um, in order to keep offering the sustainable products. So I know one of his goals was to be able to last for 100 years. Like a lot of businesses start up and then they kind of crash after however long. Um, so we kind of had a conversation where or many conversations where we decided like we're not going to be able to just do flea markets and these kind of like one-off sales. What's a better way for us to get hemp into the mainstream? So then we thought, oh, we could do like merchandise because that's going to be bulk sales, like bigger sales. Um, so we switched to that, and we have been able to get orders and fulfill them. So now our next step has been, okay, we have to up the marketing. We need to make it more consistent. So that's kind of what we've been doing with Tyler and with like the new interns we're recruiting. We're kind of at a stage now where everything's going well, so we're going to try to give it the scale a good push.
Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome. And I love the fact that you're a full service business. So can you talk about that a little bit? Like what does full service business mean?
I think there's businesses like Custom Ink, for example, not to like I'm not trying to shout like put them down or anything, but they'll basically allow you to upload a design, and then they have a list of garments, and then they make the garments and send it to you, and that's that. Um, and I think we wanted to take the full service a step further. So in regards to like the wine bag, for example, like if you wanted to go get a wine bag fabricated, you couldn't go to Custom Ink to
Hmm.
do that. They only have a specific allotment of like garments that they offer. Um, so I think initially we wanted to kind of have these more friendly relationships with the businesses that we're working with to really get to know them and what they are looking to create. And
Hmm.
then once we kind of have a couple conversations, like what are you looking for? What's the intention? Um, we make them their samples. They okay the samples, then we go to production, and then after that we do the screen printing or we do the embroidery. Um, and then after the whole thing is said and done, we keep checking back in. And I think for us, we've put an extra emphasis on customer service or just kind of having good relations with who we work with. Um, just because it's kind of fun. Like by the end of doing a deal with someone, I feel like we've accrued more friends. But then we also know that if they have a good experience, they'll spread the word, so it'll be beneficial for everyone again. Because
Yeah.
we're getting the hemp out there, and the business gets to grow.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, if someone has a good experience, people are gonna see it and they're gonna be like, "Ooh, where'd you get that?" And either that or they'll be like, "If you need something, I just worked with these guys and they're amazing. Like, I highly recommend." Like, word of mouth is better than anything. And so if you provide good customer service, that's gonna come back to you.
Yeah, and we did these aprons for this restaurant, and they reached out to us and they were saying we need to get the shirts that we use at the restaurant re-dyed. Do you guys know anywhere that does sustainable dyeing? So I think that's kind of another example where it's like we've now become a resource for them. Like we've said it before, where it's like we're not just selling sustainable products, we're kind of like a gateway to making your business more sustainable.
Yeah.
So it's ways like that where we can show up and kind of point them in more sustainable directions outside of what we specifically provide, which
Yeah,
I think,
totally.
yeah, we're happy to do.
Well, I mean, that's really good business. I mean, for people that, like gatekeeping, like, oh, I know, but I'm not going to tell you because then you're going to go to them and I'm going to lose your business or whatever. But like good business is really like, we don't provide that right now, but these guys down the road do, and they do a really good job. And then, they'll be like, that's really cool of them because a lot
Yeah.
of people don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you said, Billy, that, you said we do embroidery and stuff like that, that's you guys.
If it's smaller scale, we've kind of been not embroidery specifically, but like the screen printing, for example, like we do that. If it's something that we can't do, like embroidery, because we don't have the machines at this point in time, we kind of have our connections, so to speak, in the fashion district. So it's like we know who to go to, we know who we've worked with before. If they don't know someone, they'll recommend us. So it's kind of like there's a little bit of a community down there where you can kind of get recommendations for anything
That's
that you're looking
incredible.
for. Yeah, with that being said, though, we intend to scale to the point where then we can provide those services in house or under one roof. So it's
Yeah.
like we're full service, but it still includes us having to kind of
Yeah.
outsource, so to speak, to
Outsource
get things
locally.
fabricated.
Right.
Yeah,
But I think
And
I mean, it's like a big team, really.
yeah,
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 because
and
we
we
go back with
focus.
the same.
Oh, I
Oh,
was just going to say that we focus on those things too, just to make it as modular as possible, as accessible as possible. Like from start to finish, you can select what kind of fabric you want. We can make a new pattern with you. We can put any design you want on the silk screening. So we don't want to just be limited by what our capabilities are, and
Right.
why would we stop there? So if it means that we're bringing in local professionals to do the embroidery, then so be it. And these are
Right.
the same people that we would recommend to them had they just needed that service. Um, but when you work with us, we try to do it all.
Yeah. I think that's really great. And I mean, so you have people in the fashion district that will help with like embroidery or other things that you're not capable of doing at this time. But I'm sure that you also reciprocate that, right? Like if someone needs, a great fabric or whatever, they'll be like, "Hey, can you guys hook us up?" But like, it's you're all working together. You just have different businesses, which I just think is awesome. And I mean, I had a podcast guest who was talking about how um with fast fashion and, fashion in general, like, someone makes the fabric, someone does the screen printing, but they're not even in the same continent. So you have to ship everything this way. And, but like with you guys, you're like, everything is right there. And if
Yeah.
you're not doing it, someone in the neighborhood is doing it. So it's like, it's all staying local. It's like shipping is not crazy pants. Um, I think that's a wonderful, like, um, I'm gonna say fabric. Like it's like this webbing sort of, but I think
yeah,
it's really great. And so you were telling me the story before we started recording, Billy, but so I was curious about the name Jacaranda, and I'm
yeah.
not familiar with that tree.
So basically, a jacaranda tree. Um, there's a lot of them in Los Angeles, and they bloom twice a year. And the time when they are bloomed, it's like 1 or 2 weeks. It's a short amount of time. But when they're in bloom, the whole tree is purple. It's like this beautiful light purple color. Um, and the street that I grew up on, this like the same spot where Henry was living with me, and where the whole company was kind of fabricated in the first place. There's a whole tunnel of these jacaranda trees,
Hmm.
and in the summertime when they bloom, people come from all over to like walk on the street just because it's such a neat experience. So we decided to name the company Jacaranda just because it's like a tip of the hat to the fact that everything's made in LA. And I don't know, it's also like Harrison said earlier, the jacaranda flowers land on people's car and it makes them dirty. People don't like it. So similar to hemp, it's another plant that's gotten
This
a bad reputation simply for its existence or what it does to humans in one way, but I think they're helpful in many other ways, just considering how beautiful they are, like their presence. But yeah,
I need to look that up because that sounds really pretty. I feel like, I mean, it reminds me of just like I have this vision of the oh my goodness, what is the one that's big in like Japan? The wisteria.
yeah,
You see those pictures of the wisteria that's just like purple everywhere and it's just so beautiful. And it sounds like I think it might even be a similar shade, but I'll have to look at pictures. But
and it,
I think that's really fun because it also is sort of like you said a tipping your hat to LA, but also just like growing up, like your neighborhood, and it's like, you
yeah,
grew up in this area and it's stuck with you, and you're keeping your childhood with you. I just think that's
yeah,
really fun.
and then like the business itself is kind of rooted in like nature appreciation. I guess that there was a pun there, but it's kind of like it would be weird if we named it like Billy's Shirts or something. I don't know. I feel like by naming it after the plant, we're kind of like honoring it a little bit. It's just another way to like educate or inform people because some people don't know, and then you get to tell them, then they look it up, and then for the rest of their lives, they'll see it and think, oh, now I know what that is. But
Yeah,
yeah,
stories sell, and that's a great icebreaker. If someone's curious, they'll be like, "What is that about?" If they're not in LA, of course.
yeah,
But I mean, I think stories are super important, and also, I was thinking of this before, and it escaped me, but just the fact that, relationships also sell. Like when you are forming a relationship, you're forming trust also, and that'll build a stronger relationship, and people will come back to you time after time. I mean, I'm like, I think that we probably talked about this before, but just like it's so different than working with, I mean, you don't even work with a big box company. Like you just go in there and they don't know you're there and they don't know that you've bought anything and they don't know anything about you. But here, with this small company that is really rooted in the earth and plants, like just, so much appreciation. Like you have these stories about all these things and growing up together and working together as as childhood friends, and then you're doing everything you can to support this business and support the earth and do everything that you can to leave to make a lighter footprint. And I think it shows. I think it will show in your business. I think it shows just in the way that you speak. I just think I don't know, I love it.
thank you.
Um, I just think it's so meaningful, especially as younger people. Some people might not expect that, but I love that. Is so it's the Eagle Scout and you guys. You think that like you did so much plant identification and stuff like that?
Yeah, and also little side note, but I guess it speaks to more of our values. But 3% of our profits get donated to the Tree People, which is like the largest nature conservancy in LA. They kind of just plant trees and do trail restoration. But I know all of us at a certain point went on a field trip there, um, in elementary school. So I guess that tied into like Eagle Scouts and doing all the hiking and the nature exposure. I think a lot of it kind of was ingrained in us at an early age that we need to respect nature and if we're going to start a business, we have to act accordingly and do one that is beneficial to it, or at least not harmful to it. But yeah, I think we kind of hit the golden ticket by being able to sell hemp, which is saving the earth, so to speak.
Right. Well, and actually, can you go into depth with that a little bit, Billy or Harrison? Like, I mean, I know we talked about it before hitting record, but um, you know, I don't think that you really went into depth when I asked about hemp before, because I probably interrupted you. But so hemp is, I mean, well, okay, so you were saying it sequesters carbon as well. but
Yeah.
also like it requires less water, it requires less space. It grows just upright, so it doesn't take up that much space. But was there more to that than because I think I forgot to about the if you said it before, I missed it, but I know you said it earlier about the sequestering carbon, but I just think that it's an important point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more. I mean, hemp is a really great fabric, and it's one of the strongest natural fibers, which helps us on the other end of the supply chain. So, like, we obviously want to make the most sustainable product possible, but if we make products that last for a long time, then people will buy less clothing and will have less going into the landfill. So hemp is well physically very strong, but is also antimicrobial. It's UV resistant. It's odor resistant. So I mean, we are making workout clothes with hemp, and our goal, we do want to make $1 million and we do want to be in vogue. But at the end of the day, we're really just trying to replace as much of the current fashion industry with sustainable products. And hemp is the ticket that we're going with right now. We're exploring other sustainable fibers like bamboo and other varieties of hemp. But for where we are right now, this seems like the way that we want to take.
I did not realize it was UV resistant. That's really interesting.
Yeah. It's also like it's like an insulator. So it's like if you're like cold, it'll help keep you warm and vice versa. So it's like there's these crazy random benefits that come with it, which would kind of make it a no-brainer, like, oh, we should be making everything out of this. But yeah. And then it's also like vegan and compostable. So it's like once it lasts longer than cotton, and then once it is done or it is time to return it to the earth, it's gonna have less of an impact. It's not gonna be harmful.
Huh. Well, yeah, I mean that makes total sense. But so does it matter? What do you use for threads, I guess? Or,
The so the like the stalk of the plant is stripped for its fibers, and then that's woven into the threads. So it's like the process of doing that though doesn't require chemicals. So it's like bamboo is the next best all natural fiber, so to
right.
speak, in regards to least amount of impact on the earth. But even turning bamboo into a fiber, it requires a specific chemical that I'm forgetting the name of. I apologize. So it's like there's a whole list where it's like hemp, bamboo, lycra, and then cotton's kind of closer to the bottom. So
Oh,
there's even like organic cottons, which are like it's a step above cotton, but I don't know. There's just a whole variety of better choices than what the industry standard is.
did you say lycra is above cotton? How I think of lycra as like a polyester type. Is that not
It's
true?
like a no, so like poly is like basically completely made in a fact. Like poly
Yeah.
is like yeah,
I just always assumed that lycra was really similar. That's me.
yeah,
Um, okay. Wow, that's interesting. So hemp is like the number one. You said that it's the strongest and has all these benefits. Well, shoot. Uh, good. I mean, I had no idea. I had no idea. I just thought it was another natural fabric. This is really interesting to know that it's not just like a natural fabric, but it has all these great qualities about it.
yeah.
Um, all right. Well, I mean, did we miss anything? I feel like, oh, so you had said one thing when we talked before, Billy. So you had said, or no, I think it's on your website that it says, you're like upgrading your wardrobe without sacrificing quality or profit. So like it's less expensive than a lot of the sustainable clothing. Um, and and it's a higher quality because we know it's a stronger fabric. And so you don't have to buy seven shirts or anything because you don't have to wash it like as much either, or you know it requires less care. It requires less care, which is a big deal.
Yeah,
I
you don't
just,
have to bleach it because it's unbleached, you know?
yeah, yeah. I was just listening to a podcast episode yesterday. Someone said that I think it was Levi's way back when they first started, they were planning for jeans to last like 100 years, um,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Well,
But
I know Levi's when they started, they were being made out of
cotton.
hemp also.
Oh, that's right. You told me that. I
Yeah,
think.
and then hemp became outlawed for political reasons. So then the whole thing is just I don't know. I maybe because we're like younger and we're kind of new to the real world that we're able to kind of see these things and have a judgment on it. But I feel like we're kind of like, well, everything should be made out of this. It just doesn't. It's
Yeah.
not adding up. But yeah,
Well, I mean, yeah, like I said, and I think it was 2022 when I talked to Kathy, she was like, you can grow it, but you can't really do anything with it here. So it seemed weird that it was even grown here. Um,
yeah.
but it's okay. I mean, I'm sure you're just like, this is so dumb. Why, why isn't everyone using hemp?
Well, that's the thing too, because it's like at least where we're getting our fabric from, it's they have been importing fabric since 1994, and then it became legal to grow and use industrially in 2019. So it's like hemp farms are just now popping up. So it's like accessibility to it is only going to become more
Better. Yeah.
available. So it's like, yeah, we try to source everything from the ones that are grown in the US, but we just understand like as the hemp industry continues to scale, like it's just going to make it easier on us. Like I feel like we've gotten in at a good time
Hmm.
and we're helping to expedite the process of making it, the new industry standard, at least trying.
Right. Well, that's the education part. I mean, between your interns and you guys doing podcast episodes and getting the word out and showing people how great it is, like it's only gonna become more popular, which is great because if hemp is gonna be grown more, have people understand the importance of it and appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, so when I say the word sustainability, you guys, what does that mean to you?
Mm. I think to me, sustainability means like those long-term solutions. Back to what Will was talking about with Patagonia, sustainability is not a fad. Sustainability is, not stealing from tomorrow. Sustainability is having something that lasts a really long time, and when it goes away, it
Hmm.
has like a small detriment compared to like what's currently going on. So I think longevity and sustainability to me go hand in hand.
Got it. That's great. I mean, I love that you said, not stealing from tomorrow. That's
Yeah, well,
great.
I love the planet. I love nature. I love scuba diving. I love walking through forests, and I can't imagine a world without that, but it's a very real possibility. So,
Yeah, for sure. Billy, what you got?
Well, I think like sustainability, the term I think kind of gets grouped in with eco-friendly, but I think if you like the root of it, I think it's I forget the actual definition. It'd be cool if I could pull that off the top of my head, but I think it's like the ability to be
Welcome to my
like
world.
yeah, I can't remember anything. Well, no, I think it's like the ability to be maintained. I think there's more to it, but it's I think the ability to like selling a sustainable product is one that's going to last, and I think at this stage, I think humans' impact on Earth is not sustainable. I think we're kind of killing it, in a bad
Not in
way.
a good way.
Yeah. So for me, sustainability is the ability to maintain. I think we're trying to make a product that'll help maintain where we're at, like kind of a healthy earth, like a healthy life, healthy people.
Hmm.
And I think selling a sustainable, eco-friendly product goes hand in hand with having a sustainable business, one that can last and one that can continue to try to make a positive change. Um, yeah, I wish I had a more specific answer, but I think that's kind of where my head's at with it.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I mean, I've had a couple of podcast guests that were like, sustainability is not good enough. Like I do not want to sustain what we have right here.
That's
Um,
fair.
and so, and that's what this podcast is about, like trying to figure out ways to not necessarily reverse it, but just like ease that a little bit because we're sort of going 90 to nothing, it feels like. But just to slow that down a little bit and do our part. We're just one person or four people or whatever, but like, if the more people are doing it, the more we're encouraging each other and supporting each other um in doing what's right. I think that that's the best we can do. But I think that, utilizing hemp as a stronger fabric and, purchasing less because it's going to last longer and, use less water and all the things. I think that it's such a great thing to know. And I'm so glad that we got to do this so that I get to be a little bit educated and we get to tell people about you. Um, but so how can people find Jacaranda and you guys and follow and maybe shop and learn more?
Yeah, so our website is jacarandahemp.com. That's spelled Jacaranda hemp, HEMP.com. And then our Instagram is Jacaranda Hemp Clothing. And that's kind of where we're at. That's our online presence.
Okay. Super.
Yeah. And
That's
then also, I just wanted to go back to something I said. I realized I misspoke. Um, Lycra, I meant to say Lycra alternatives. And the Lycra alternatives are like latex or wool. There's different wools that are stretchy. But I just wanted to clear that up because I realized I said Lycra was all natural.
Oh, okay.
Just throwing that out there.
Got it. Okay. But so Lycra alternatives, you said.
Yeah, like stretchy. So like there's like latex or there's different wools that they use.
See, latex I also think of as like polyester type, like completely not completely man-made. And that's not true, right?
No, I think that one's like I think it's harvested from like rubber trees.
It's hard to make stretchy fabric that's all natural. We're still working on that one.
Yeah, no, I know. That's because I mean there was a podcast episode a few months ago, I think, where I like learned that because I don't, jeans. Like I always think of jeans as cotton, but jeans these days because they're stretchy are not good. Not
There are
good.
all sorts of things.
Mm. Um, but yeah, so I mean I think that I guess I mean so rubber is natural, it's a plant, but that's really interesting. I always thought of it as like a polyester, so like man-made. Um, okay. But so jacarandahemp.com you said, and
Hmm.
Jacaranda Hemp Clothing on Instagram. Okay. Great. Well, Billy Harrison, thank you so much for being here. I learned a lot, and I hope that, the listeners will also, and I hope that the business just like booms for you guys. I hope that this really catches and people learn, why hemp.
Well, yeah. Thank you very much for having us. We loved having this conversation with you.
Yay. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us on the show.
Absolutely. Glad to.